Hey, welcome back, everyone.
You know, it's our favorite time of the week where we have special guests come on our show.
Yes, and we're really excited because we have two special guests this time. So we are going to pass the mic over to them to let them introduce themselves.
Hi, guys. I am Katie Judkins. My husband is Tyler Judkins. He is currently an assistant strength conditioning coach for the Kansas City Chiefs. We are both originally from Minnesota. So high school, junior high-ish sweethearts. We've been together for a really long time. We just transitioned to Kansas City from Los Angeles. So we were with the Chargers for a few seasons. He started his career coaching football with UCLA. We were there for 6 seasons. Eventually were fired and then ended up securing a job with the Los Angeles Chargers. So we had 2 seasons with the Chargers, and then we're eventually let go from there as well due to some head coaching changes. And now we are with the Kansas City Chiefs.
I'm Erin Mazzone. My husband, Taylor, is the wide receivers coach at the University of San Diego. So Katie and Tyler introduced me to my husband, Taylor, a long time ago. This is our first season here. We were also just fired from the University of Arizona. So this is our first season, and we have 2 little boys. Roman is 3.5. Pierce is almost 2. And then we got baby number 3 on the way. So
yes,
wild times.
Yes, so exciting. Well, we were just talking right before we started recording and I had them stop. And since they both mentioned it in their opening, I want to talk about the word fired and what that means to y'all, what that means in the sports industry versus in the real world.
Just what we were saying, the word fired has such a negative connotation in the real world, but in the sports world, it's something that happens. And I've heard the saying, there's coaches that have been fired and then there's coaches that are going to be fired. And it just happens. It's a way of life. And we kind of just have to learn to roll with it a little bit.
I think too, during a season, if you're maybe not having a very successful season and you may be on the 3rd or 4th season of not having much success, that term fired, getting fired, are we going to lose our jobs? Are we, are they going to make a change? All of that just sort of becomes top of mind and is really kind of heavy on everyone's hearts during the season. And you kind of wonder, okay, do I need to start planning things? My lease is coming up. Should we renew our lease? Should we, punt a little bit and see how long we can wait until we need to, secure our housing for the next year? Are we going to get fired? And then as we were discussing, you're talking with family and friends about potentially getting fired, and people give you that wait, what? Fired? What did he do? Did he do something wrong? And it's well, right. No, it's just what happens. That's the nature of the beast in this industry. And I think that when you talk to people who really understand what that means in this world, you don't get that reaction of what do you mean you're getting fired? But yeah, you're kind of I feel for you. I get it, it happens.
When you kind of compare it to corporate world, it's interesting with the sports industry because I think that there's so much pressure on quick turnaround. So quick results, quick winning, you have to bring that result in order to stay. And I think that in a corporate job, you do one-on-ones, you set goals, you do all these things. And unless you either change career paths or you do something terribly wrong, you don't usually get fired. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's such an interesting comparison. And the word fired, I wish there was another term to put with that, because it's not really you're fired, a terrible thing in most cases. So it's just one of those things that people don't realize. But both of you have shared that you've been fired, you've been through it, you know what it's like. So with relationships with women on the team, how in the world do you separate the two, friendship and job?
Well, this actually happened to us. I kind of forgot about it until that question. So we were on staff together at UCLA. Tyler was a strength coach. My husband was a quarterbacks coach. And a couple of people on the offensive staff got let go and the rest of the staff stayed. And so we ended up moving to Texas A&M, and our first game was against UCLA.
Oh my gosh.
And it was wild. I think we made we never talked about it, but we decided not to sit with each other at the game. I flew to LA, but I feel with wives, you're not going to mesh with everyone, but the relationships that you really want to keep, you're going to keep no matter what. The other wives know what you're going through. They're your rock through the good and the bad. And
And I think for us too, I mean, our friendship existed prior to a friendship on a staff, right? So, you know, we have that too, where our roots go like a little deeper than just being on the staff together at UCLA. Now, with that said, it's hard to see your best friend move across the country. It's really hard to see, you know, that couple that you spend so much of your time with. And then at the same time, it's like, you want success for them when they're not playing with you, you know? And I'll say that to this day about anyone I'm friends with. There's a girlfriend of mine who they're with the Raiders now, and I'll be a Raiders fan every game of the season except for when they play us.
Yeah.
But you better believe I'll text you during the game and, you know, be cheering you on. And then, you know, when you do end up playing each other, it's like, it's almost better just to like get through it, get past it. You talk about it for a second and then you move on.
Yeah.
And it's a new day.
Yeah. I think that's so great that y'all have such a great friendship too. And you can kind of know that it might not be the best idea to sit next to each other, although you'd probably want to because you haven't seen each other. And it's like that excitement of seeing your friend, but you know that it's probably not the best idea for you to sit next to each other just because it's hard. You want to be with that person, but also you're like, wait, I don't want you to win. I want to win on this game. So like you both met, you introduced her to her husband. So how did that happen?
Erin and I were both working for a mortgage company, and we got transferred out to Southern California. Before we got transferred, my now husband, Tyler, was already interning at UCLA. So I was like, great, this is perfect. I can get out to Southern California and be close to him. And so I knew that there were a couple other people from our office that were also going to be going out for this assignment. And at like 5 o'clock in the morning, 4:30 in the morning, I don't know, we had a super early flight. I met Erin at the airport, and thank God I did. We bonded over Starbucks instantly, and we've been literal best friends ever since. It just sort of clicked. I felt like we worked in an office with hundreds of people and never met each other, and had mutual friends, still never met each other. And I love those little like fate stories, or, you know, I don't want to say incestual, but like in a way, like
meant to be.
Once you're like in the mix, it's like, all right, well, it just only made sense that she met and married Taylor. I don't know.
Yeah. Did y'all both know what your lifestyle, like that you were about to enter? Because if he's interning at UCLA and then Erin, you're like, hey, this guy's really cute, but I know nothing of what is about to happen. So Erin, were you kind of like blindsided, or what did you feel?
I think a little bit blindsided because we had such a good wives, girlfriends crew at UCLA that it was like fake reality. And all of a sudden, you know, we leave and move, and not saying the wives at the next, you know, place weren't equally as great, but it was kind of shocking because you think you're getting into one thing. And I'm like, oh, I have a great job. I live in LA. There's so many things to do. You have these great wives to hang out with all the time. I had Katie, and then we moved to the middle of nowhere in Texas. And I'm like, okay, what is this? And then that's when our relationship kind of, you know, Taylor and I kind of went through like, okay, we need to figure this out together. And it's different. It's very different.
It's interesting that you say that because I'm at that point right now. Like I've had Ashley like since I moved to Washington, and then I met her right when I moved. We moved at like the same time, met her, we moved on here, and I'm like, I'm so nervous for that next place because I know I'll be fine, but it's always that like initial when you meet someone else if you're not with somebody that you already know. So it's such a scary time. When you found out that y'all were going to be fired, what was that period like for you? What was that like in between transition? Was there like some waiting, or did you kind of know it was coming? What did that feel like for you?
I kind of knew it was coming a little bit, just the relationship our head coach and our quarterback had. I think they wanted to go in a different direction. And so we kind of had, you know, the vibe that it was coming, but it was immediate. Like Taylor and I didn't live together. We were just dating. And he was like, can you help pack my stuff up? I'm leaving in 3 days. And I was like, wait, you just got fired yesterday. Like you're leaving on Friday. Like it was so fast, everything. So it just kind of happened. And then he flew back the next week